option, whichever solution will be offered that respects the three basic rights of Palestinians and obviously also respects the rights of the Jews who are living there and of everyone who is living there, also migrant workers who are being mistreated and simply because they're not Jewish. I mean, and anyone who is living on that land. Any solution that respects the rights, that's perfectly fine with me.
To what extent do you think Israelis in Israel are aware of how Palestinians are treated in the West Bank and Gaza, for example?
I would say that the vast majority of Israelis, they don't know and they don't want to know. The main problem in Israel is not that people are like crazy, they're just apathetic. They just don't care. And in order to see the situation, to understand the situation in the West Bank and how this carries on and so on, you also have to see the situation in Tel Aviv. Not because you have to understand, both sides and listen to both sides. It's just, it's two sides of the same coin, of the same system. The system of apartheid that allows for the crimes to take place in the West Bank is also the system that allows for the privileged Israelis to not know and to not see Palestinians around and to live as if there is no occupation. The Israeli economy is actually based on profiting from the occupation. So transforming Israel into a peace-loving state that doesn't attack or threaten to attack all its neighbors is also from the financial aspect, from the business aspect, that would mean a great change because really the whole type of thinking is such that we don't have to interact and we don't have to have good relations with our neighbors, not even those who are literally our neighbors.
Do you think that's changing? Or?
I think that Israelis are forced into change, but there's still a long way to go. The thing is that there's the change that needs to take place in the short term, and then there's the long run. And in the short term, the first thing that we should demand is the end of Israeli crimes. We have to oppose occupation and apartheid, and this has to end today. Tomorrow would be too late. We all should demand that. There's no question about it. The other thing that needs to take place is an educational process about really how can we live together? What does it mean to democratize a place that is highly undemocratic? And there's many questions to be asked, and also a lot of what's called peace and reconciliation aspects. There's really a lot of talking and understanding to be done, because Israel, apart from taking away the rights of Palestinians and taking away their lands and driving them out of their land, probably the greatest Zionist achievement was actually deleting, erasing the Palestinian narrative altogether. Because the first thing that happened in 1948 when they occupied Palestinian villages and cities, the first thing that happened is that right after the military occupiers, just a few hours later, there was a group of librarians who went from among the National Library in Israel, and they took away Palestinian books, which are kept ever since in the National Library in Israel. And I don't remember exactly how many, about 60,000 books have been looted. So it's not only the driving away of people and not allowing them to ever come back and so on, it's the whole Palestinian narratives, the whole Palestinian culture, it's whatever was happening before 48 has been sort of totally erased from history. Jaffa, which is the neighbor city and the mother city actually of Tel Aviv, where I'm coming from, which is the same municipality, by the way, the municipality of Tel Aviv Jaffa. In Jaffa there were about almost 100,000 people living there until 48. In 48 only 3,000 to 4,000 remained. And they were also basically kind of held in for a couple of years in the military, like in sort of a ghetto, like under military rule. The rest have been exiled. Many of them are still refugees in Gaza to this day. Jaffa was a very thriving city, a cosmopolitan, a successful city. There was a train line going from Egypt to the north, to Lebanon and so on, going through Jaffa. People were living there and then studying in Lebanon and so on. 1/3 of the export by the British Mandate was actually done through the Jaffa port, which was a very successful place. 1 million crates of oranges have been